So at this point, I'll just ask each panelist to provide a brief intro, about 1 minute each, and mention one or two of the nuggets on how you are driving innovation in the property space, and I think we'll just take it left to right.
So I'm Itai Ben-Zaken. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Honeycomb Insurance. Honeycomb focuses on the habitational market or multifamily property market, a market that has been, I'd say, traditionally very old school and run like the regular commercial lines business, but in many cases you're talking about risks that are actually not very far from a homeowner's policy in size. So we built a deep technology platform to allow us to underwrite in a way that streamlines the process, but also continues to keep the integrity of underwriting, because eventually these are assets that if we lose 10 assets, and it's a very painful loss. So we still have to have the discipline and the rigor of regular underwriting, but we are creating that with artificial intelligence technology that basically builds that knowledge and is able to apply it based on what we know from traditional underwriting. So we have roof models and front models, and we have models that we use on top of imagery that comes from within the building that we do remote inspections on. And that's really the core of our differentiation. It's underwriting. It's a product that can kind of bridge the gap between loss ratios and huge expense ratios, low loss ratios, huge expense ratios, or low expense ratios, but then all of a sudden, loss ratios blow away. Our technology bridges that gap and allows us to do both.
So there are some barriers, but of course there's also some low-hanging fruit. And there are various approaches toward innovation. What do you think is the lowest hanging fruit in this space? Is it distribution model, tech, segmentation, other?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's really about that technology piece that's missing. I completely echo what Dan mentioned about the systems. If you think about the incumbents, they sit on top of 20 legacy systems, so it's very hard to work. We bridge that because we do have a system that we can control. But I think the remaining big challenge in our market is that there's really good manual underwriting. It's super expensive. It's inconsistent. And the downside could be really huge, right? If you're insuring $10 million buildings and they get destroyed, that's a really big blow. So you really want to move away from any such risk. And the way that insurance companies have done this so far is either by just manually underwriting everything, sending inspectors to 100% of the properties and then remaining with a very tiny margin, or taking a risk, getting hit, and then pulling out of the market. We've seen that a lot. There's no leader for our market. So the low-hanging fruit in our market is figuring out how you're able to automate. You don't have to automate 100% of the process, but really automating without exposing to those big downside risks. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit like you make a change to an airplane, right? I mean, yeah, theoretically, change that engine, or make the steering wheel go a bit to the right. Well, you want to be sure that you don't mess things up. So some of those basic expectations do take time because we want to do them in a way that we can control and that our reinsurers appreciate and understand. Yeah. No, I mean, so that's, I think, a big inhibitor for innovation. Combine that with the fact that the current players are, on average, 100, 120 years old, and they haven't been bothered too much until recently. They're like, well, it works. Make money, I invest it, the stock market goes up, so why should I change things?
And we've been talking broadly about innovation in the industry, but maybe we'll touch on some more specific themes. So in particular, there's a lot of talk around big data and unstructured data, like video and images. What do you all see as the biggest opportunities for big data, specifically within the property space?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the biggest kind of opportunity to accelerate around big data for, across the board in insurance is having a more structured database of a lot of the information that insurance companies want to use. I think, Sean and Kim built something that is their differentiating factor, but I imagine they haven't, they probably built it for themselves for the purpose of what makes the biggest difference for them. And same thing with us, we build it for what we care about. I think in the early days of Google, they came up with their mission statement that they want to organize the world's information. And initially, people criticized them. It's like, this is a bit aspirational. They did it. In the insurance world, I think there's still a lot of progress that needs to be made, because all that information is out there. It's in the counties, it's in tax records, it's in a lot of different places, but just messy. One state has different rules, one of them has it online, one of them you have to go and take the files in paper. If that progresses in the same way that Google progressed some of the more straightforward information, like you go on Google Maps and you type a name of a restaurant in any part of the world and you get the same data, then I think that allows startups, but also incumbents, to accelerate. Right now, I think it's a big inhibitor for moving forward.